There's a coach in this division who I don't think makes it to the end of the season. We're going to talk about it along with a few other storylines. Now that training camp has kicked off, a couple of things to keep your eyes on, things to follow. Just to, as we get into the season, there's always a few things that you want to focus on for each team. We're going to start with the New Orleans Saints. And I feel like 7-10 for New Orleans doesn't justify their season last year. Because if it wasn't for Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston being so bad, this team could have definitely been in the playoff race, near double-digit wins. So with Derek Carr being the main storyline that I think of when it comes to the Saints, this is just one of those teams that you think about. If you go watch my other divisional videos, teams like Baltimore and Pittsburgh, teams that just are always prepared. They come from an organization that's really well run. They only have down seasons from like really weird scenarios that happen. And New Orleans is one of those teams. Defense always comes and plays lights out. Their offense isn't bad by any means. They were just a quarterback away from getting its full potential. So I'm really curious to see how much this team elevates with the leadership of Derek Carr, the consistency of Derek Carr. One thing yes, Derek Carr had his ups and downs in Las Vegas / Oakland, but the man is always available. And I think that that's a huge part of being a quarterback in the NFL is just being on the field. He had that 1 year, he had that leg injury right before going into the playoffs, and he was having an MVP-esque season. So with Chris Olave establishing himself as one of the better young wide receivers in the league, Michael Thomas may be coming back. I do need to see more from this wide receiver room. Even the tight ends, someone needs to step up and help Chris Olave because he cannot do it on his own. I'd love to see Michael Thomas come back as the weapon that he once was 3+ years ago. If he can, that's a dangerous wide receiver duo that could lead the league in, yards, receptions, so on and so forth. But the tight ends are not doing super great. We don't know what's going on with Alvin Kamara. I think he's going to play and be fine, maybe a few games suspension. But to just see how this offense can elevate, one name to keep your eye on, A.T. Perry out of Wake Forest comes in and has a bigger body, a lot of potential and just natural raw ability to maybe be that wide receiver 3 that this team needs. Hell, maybe even wide receiver 2 if Michael Thomas can't stay healthy. So those are the storylines that I'm looking after the most for New Orleans. Let's move on to Carolina. Because, of course, again, a lot of these storylines naturally revolve around the quarterback. They trade up with the Chicago Bears, give up DJ Moore and a plethora of other picks to go get this man right here, Mr. Bryce Young, quarterback out of Alabama. I'm so intrigued to watch him and his development. Everything that I've seen out of camp and have read thus far is just talking about how intelligent this young man is, how quickly he's picking up the playbook, how much he's trying to come in and earn the respect of veterans and other leaders of this team. He's doing everything the right way, which is step one and a great way to begin your career. They did just announce he will be the week 1 starter because they got to look at Andy Dalton twice last year in New Orleans, and they're like, nah, fam, we're going to go ahead and take a shot on the kid. So he has some weapons around him. Not the best weapons, but enough. Hayden Hurst comes over from Cincinnati. Love that. Reliable in between the hash marks pass catcher. They go and get Adam Thielen, DJ Chark. Terrence Marshall's still there, I think, trying to make a name for himself and really take that leap into being a more wide receiver 1 or 2 solid, piece of the offense. And then they go get Mingo. Oh man, what's his first name? Anyways, the wide receiver from Ole Miss, I think he was drafted in the second, third round, and he's been looking really good too. It reminds me when Andy Dalton and AJ Green got drafted together. It's just the two young guys that for the next 4 years at least can work on chemistry, work on just being that reliable 1-2 punch. So I hope that they're able to grow and mature and Mingo's able to get on the field. But I really want to focus on Bryce Young early, especially in the preseason. How does he play? How does he look? But also, I'm really, really impressed with two things. One, the coaching staff they have built around Bryce Young that I believe is going to help him be successful quick and early. With, of course, Frank Reich, who has a really, really successful past of helping quarterbacks develop, aka Carson Wentz, before he was not Carson Wentz anymore. Along with a lot of other guys, he's going to put Bryce in the best position to succeed. You go get Josh McCown as your QB coach. This man was getting head coaching gigs out the gate. He's a great mentor, played in the league for a long time, has seen a lot of football. And then you have Jim Caldwell, who has been a head coach in the league, has tons and tons of experience that he can share and help coach Bryce up. So I think watching that staff is going to correlate very, very close to how successful he is early on. The second thing is this defense could sneakily, is sneakily a word? Anyways, they could be a top 5 defense. And I think because Carolina wasn't super great last year, they forget that they have Jeremy Chin, J.C. Horn, Brian Burns, Shaq Thompson. They go get Von Bell from Cincinnati. Frankie Louvu, me being a Jets fan, I think we drafted him, or he might have been undrafted, and he played lights out for New York. He's slowly, I think, creeping up and becoming a training camp favorite, always around the ball, always making plays. 2018, so I guess he went undrafted because there's no information there. You have Derek Brown, who, man, he got drafted in 2020. I thought it was even before that. First round selection. Oh no, that's not what I meant to click on. I'm blanking on. Dante Jackson, who is a freak athlete. This defense, I think, will help Bryce Young as well. Not like he's not going to have to come back from shootouts or play from behind super often because this defense is going to hang in there and really keep them in games, especially in a division that isn't the strongest. So those are the storylines that I'm watching when it comes to Carolina. But when we go to Atlanta, I think these are the betting favorites to win the division for the time being. I could be wrong. I'll have Alex check on that because obviously I'm not the betting person on the channel. But a few storylines I'm watching here. Are they going to regret selecting Bijan where they selected him? I'm from Austin. I'm a diehard UT football fan. By UT, I mean the University of Texas. Tennessee, get on out of here. I just don't know if a running back was the best choice there because they have other needs. Granted, I think Bijan can play multiple different spots on the offensive side of the ball. Think of him as a younger, better version of Cordell Patterson. That's like play running back, play slot receiver, can motion him way out wide. He can do a lot. I've seen a few training camp videos so far. He's having a come to Jesus moment, learning that the NFL is a very difficult place to play, and he's getting strapped on some of these routes. The good thing is he's trying to develop as a pass catcher. We're going to look back 2-3 years from now, like the Kyle Pitts selection, really early for a tight end. I think the earliest a tight end has ever been drafted. I hope that he bounces back, but he has had his struggles as well. Drake London is the only real receiver that is a threat on this offensive side of the ball. They go bring in Mac Hollins from Las Vegas. I think he's a good compliment, but obviously not like stud number 2 receiver. If they can put this together, have Bijan maybe playing in the slot sometimes with Algier in the backfield, and Drake London, Mac Hollins, two really big body receivers on the edge. Kyle Pitts getting back to playing a pass catcher more than a distraction blocker, which is where Arthur Smith has kind of been using him. A little disrespectful. This team has so much potential. At the end of the day, it's all going to fall on Desmond Ridder. Granted, I haven't heard anything bad coming out of camp about Desmond, but I haven't really heard anything good coming out of camp about Desmond. It's his second year. Give him the keys. See what he's got. Worst case scenario, next year you start really evaluating these quarterbacks and who you could maybe take to be the long-term answer. But other than that, I think that they made a lot of really great acquisitions on the defensive side of the ball. They went through a flyer out on Jeff Okudah to pair up with A.J. Terrell. That'll be huge. Grady Jarrett, stud. Calais Campbell, veteran, stud. They go and pay Jesse Bates top-tier safety money to be the captain in the deep middle of the field, and he's really good in run support. So that's going to help tremendously because their defense struggled a bunch last year. And again, this is one of those divisions that it's going to be ugly, but every team is within grasp to, take the title. But that's what I'm thinking with Atlanta. Talk about ugly. Oh, God. I don't know if Todd Bowles makes it to the end of the season. I really don't. If they start out like 0-6 or something, just get him out of there now. Don't wait. You can start your head coaching search early. Start just throwing things out there on the wall. Experiment. It's not going to be a good year for Tampa. It's just, unless Baker Mayfield is just risen from the ashes all of a sudden, which he was doing great in Cleveland until he had some of those injuries. But between him and Kyle Trask, which, it's just pick your poison at that point. Leonard Fournette is gone, so we'll see what Rachaad White can do. Mike Evans getting up there in age. Granted, he's always been so consistent. Chris Godwin will be going into the season without the big injury that he had going into last year. Russell Gage still on the team. There's pieces. I just think you live and die by, obviously, your coaching and your quarterback play, which both at this moment don't seem super great. On defense, what used to be so dominant, I just feel like is also lacking. I mean, you have Antoine Winfield, love that. There was all the drama with, is it Derek White? No, not Derek. Devin White, my bad. He's wanting a new contract as well. He's probably going to be gone after this season. Levante David, super up there in age. Love the pairing of Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey, though. That's a great foundation to build off of as you go forward into future drafts, because the trenches are a place where most coaches want to start building from. Tristan Wirfs, of course, Ryan Jensen on the offensive line. Cody Mock out of North Dakota State was a great selection, I thought. So again, both sides of the ball, the trenches look pretty well and will be a great launching point going into future seasons. Other than that, it's just not looking super great, because if you look at this schedule, I mean, they start out against the Vikings. That's a loss. Bears loss. Eagles loss. Saints loss. I don't see them in a winnable game until Houston, maybe. Yeah, bro, they might win 1 or 2 games. Deadass. I just don't see it. I don't see it. So, Caleb Williams, you are officially a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, most likely, unless Arizona or LA beat you to it. Go check out that divisional video as well to get a little behind-the-scenes look at my thoughts there. But 8-9 is going to look a lot different. It's going to be, like I said, 2 to 3 wins max is what I'm seeing. So, going to be an ugly division to watch. But if you love football, every division's a good one if you can find the stories behind it. And that's what we're focusing on right now. So go check out the other videos like I mentioned. Let us know what you think in the comments, and we will see y'all in the next one.